Hi, my name is Ishmael and today we're going to be talking about rent arrears, how we can solve them, what implementations the government is going to be doing or might be doing that will help landlords recover their debt. So 68% of landlords have said that they are worried about the coronavirus pandemic affecting their rent negatively. This is quite a high percentage and it's quite right they should be, because a lot of people have changed their work, have had various impacts on their life, and so their situation has changed, meaning that they may affect the landlord situation. The National Residential Landlord Association has said that the government should be bringing in a loan scheme for tenants to pay off rent arrears. Now this scheme looks like it might only be coming in England, as Wales and Scotland it doesn't look like they're going to be implementing it. So what does this loan scheme look like? Well, the plans for this loan scheme, according to the National Residential Landlord Association, is that the government should bring out loans to pay off the debt that the tenants have, the rent arrears that the tenants have. And this loan scheme should be interest free, because if it is an interest rate, then the tenant will be in a worse situation. So what will happen is it will transfer the debt from the landlords to the loan scheme, which should be government backed. Now, it has to be interest free, because if it isn't interest free then the tenant will be in a worse situation, and that's not what we're trying to achieve. We're trying to achieve a good relationship between a tenant and a landlord, not put the tenant in a worse situation because the landlord is in a bad situation because of the pandemic. We're trying to make it fair. So take the debt from the landlord, put it into a loan scheme, have it interest free. So how would that look realistically? Well, the plan is that they should be implementing it like a student loan. The reason they should be implementing it like a student loan is because it's interest free and the repayment scheme is based on how much they can actually afford to repay. So as their income increases, the repayments increase and therefore they pay it off quicker. This, I believe, is a very good scheme. If you like this video, subscribe to my channel, whack that bell notification icon to get notified of more interesting information coming out that is useful and both practical in the investment industry. As a landlord, you will always benefit. So this scheme is definitely something that I would be backing, and I think all landlords should push for this scheme to come out and go forward, because it will help all landlords as a whole. Now the reason why I think the government isn't planning on bringing this scheme out over the whole nation and helping it, and they're in two minds whether they should even bring the scheme out properly, is because they are trying to get the small landlords out of the industry. As they say, the small family landlords running the business themselves, who rely on it as an extra source of income or an only source of income and don't make a lot of profit, they just have enough to live off. These are the landlords that are trying to get out of the industry, and they're trying to make it to big corporation landlords who have 50, 100, 200 properties plus. That's what they're trying to do. I don't agree that this is a good way of doing it, because most landlords that are smaller actually look after tenants better than the large landlords. So the tenants prefer these landlords in general. And I believe that these landlords are the ones which keep the industry standard high. Yes, they don't all have high standards and they don't all keep the industry standard high, but the small landlords which are self-managing, they normally have good communication with the tenants and they keep the tenants happy, and there is a good relationship. Whereas when you go through managing agents and everything else, then there can be a disconnect between the landlord and the tenant, and because the landlords don't really know what's going on in the property, they're just like, I don't want to sort it, I don't want to sort it, I don't want to sort it. So the bigger landlords can often be greedy. So just keep in mind, if you're a tenant or a landlord, that small tenancies, large tenancy, it doesn't matter, you should always look after your tenants.